Hey guys, welcome back to Mock Draft Madness Day 25. I'm doing a mock draft every single day until the NFL draft on April 25th. I'm going to do a stick and pick mock draft, so I'm not going to do any trades. I'm going to try to get some teams in some different areas, picking different players here. I got a couple comments just about certain players going to certain areas. Now, mostly when I do my mock draft is what I think the draft will probably go like in terms of what these teams needs. Like I got a comment about the Ravens, for example. In my opinion, they need to go O-line. Like they have 2 or 3 basically starters on that O-line, and if you're going to be competitive in the AFC and be a dominant team, like you need a good line, especially for, a team with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. So I just think that is such a position of need, but wide receiver is definitely something that they are also going to need. If you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, let me know in the comments your favorite and least favorite pick from this mock draft, as well as trade scenarios. So at number 1, we're going to go Bears, Caleb Williams. Now we're going to go Drake May to the Commanders. I've been having them go Jaden Daniels. I'm going to flip that up. Number 3, we have the New England Patriots. Now, I think the reality is they probably will go Jaden Daniels or trade out. I don't think they're a team that is really going to be in that competition for J.J. McCarthy because he's someone that has to sit and develop a little bit, in my opinion, and their team is not ready. So maybe they do draft him and they sit and develop him and don't play him this year because their team's not ready, but I just don't know if that's the ideal situation for him. Normally, I would have them trade out. Like, trade out would be 3, 4, or 5, for any team wanting to trade in. But with this situation with the stick and pick, I'm going to go Jaden Daniels here. I just think right now, they're probably leaning quarterback unless they can get like a King's Hall based on what Gerard Mayo is saying. Now we have Marvin Harrison to the Cardinals. At number 5, we have the Los Angeles Chargers. Stick and pick. I feel like with Jim Harbaugh's comments today, basically saying that the whole team needs the offensive line to be good. But the offensive line, everyone else is good because of the offensive line. And in my opinion, I understand they really do need receiver, but based off those comments, if we're sticking here, I believe Joe Alt would probably be, or not Joe Alt, Talisa Fuaga is probably going to be a Charger, unless they have someone else on their radar that they really want. At number 6, New York Giants are going to be taking J.J. McCarthy. If he's available there at 6, I find it hard to believe that they pass up on him. Daniel Jones, like I've said, is not Dable or Shane's guy. So now that leaves us with the Titans. They could add a weapon like a Malik Neighbors. They could add a weapon like Rome Odunze. They could add a weapon like Joe Alt. Offensive lineman. But I have been going with Alt here. I think that is the easiest option, but giving them a weapon like Rome Odunze to pair with Calvin Ridley, Treylon Burks, and DeAndre Hopkins, you are giving your young quarterback in Will Levis as much help as he could possibly need. Now, at word number 8, we have the Atlanta Falcons on the clock, and I think what I'm going to do here is I am going to go Jared Verse. I think they're going to go, defensive line. It's either going to be Dallas Turner, Jared Verse. And then with the comments from Eberflus today, the Bears head coach, they're getting a blue chip player. That's what they said. So I don't see them trading out at 9. And if Malik Neighbors or Joe Alt is there, I feel like they'll go there. And I feel like, or they would go defensive line. So it's going to be O-line, D-line, wide receiver. I think Malik Neighbors is a very, very good option here. Joe Alt is also very enticing. And it's kind of hard to pass up a guy like Malik Neighbors or Joe Alt. And I really don't know, honestly, who has more value to you if you're the Chicago Bears. Because if this is a scenario that plays out for the Bears, it is going to be a very tough choice. I feel like I would lean with the way that the Bears have positioned themselves offensively. Alt seems like the more reasonable pick for the franchise itself. I personally would go Neighbors, but I'm not the front office. Number 10, we have the New York Jets. They are going to be taking Malik Neighbors to pair with Garrett Wilson. That is a very easy pick. Now, with the Minnesota Vikings on the board, you could add any of these guys right here. But, I think the easiest option here is probably Byron Murphy to put in the middle of that defensive line and give Brian Flores more pass rushers. They signed, like I said, Van Ginkel and Jonathan Grenard, so you get a guy that can play the interior, and you're starting to cook a little bit there. Quizzy's cooking. At number 12, we have the Denver Broncos on the clock. This one, like I said, it's very tough. I do really like the addition, the idea of pairing like Pat Surtain with Quinyon Mitchell or Terrion Arnold. But with Brock Bowers sitting here, it is so hard to pass him up. I do think it is a reality. They could go wide receiver because it is like pretty bleak there. But with kind of these defensive players on the board, I find it hard to pass those guys up. So I'm going to go Jerzon Newton to the Denver Broncos. At number 13, I think it is going to be Quinyon Mitchell or Terrion Arnold here. I think that is a fairly easy pick. 14, to the Saints. Ryan Ramczyk announced that he may not be coming back, or the Saints are kind of worried about it because of his knee. Penning hasn't panned out at all. So with Olu Fashanu on the board, I feel like that's a very simple solution there. You get your left tackle, right? You can worry about right tackle. Maybe you move Trevor Penning to the right side, see if that works, and kind of go from there. Now, I think the Colts are going to be targeting a cornerback. But if Brock Bowers is sitting here on the board, I do find it hard to believe that they pass on him. You're giving Anthony Richardson another weapon going into his second year, pretty much his first full year, and development is going to be at an all-time high. That's what you're going to be most focused on. So I think that is a very easy, simple, run in the pick scenario. 16, we have the Seattle Seahawks. Fautanu, solidify the interior line. You can play him a tackle, 5-spot versatility. And if you watch the Seahawks last year, you'll understand that interior of the line, especially after losing one of their guards, is definitely a point of a very big issue. 17, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars on the clock. So Dallas Turner sitting here at 17 is kind of criminal, to say the least. So I think that is what we're going to do. Pair him with Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker. You don't know Josh Allen's going to be there. You know all these teams that become super competitive have a good rotation of pass rushers, and Dallas Turner can add that. Cincinnati Bengals on the clock. They need defensive interior. Really no defensive interior first-round guys here. They could have used Brock Bowers. Yes, that would have been nice. And while I do think it is ideal for them to kind of go tackle, you could also add an edge in Leatu Latu. I think that would be kind of nasty. You are looking kind of for best player available at this point. And I know they don't need it, but like desperately. But with Terrion Arnold sitting on the board, like, I feel like you kind of have to consider it, no? Like, I don't know if that's the way they'd go. I'm leaning more like Amarius Mims. But in terms of best player available, Leatu Latu will just give them more and more pass rush. I know they have Sam Hubbard, Trey Hendrickson, but that would just give them another weapon to get to Patrick Mahomes. At number 19, we have the Los Angeles Rams. They just signed Tre'Davious White today. And, I mean, it was a one-year deal. So if Terrion Arnold is available for them at 19, that is a long-term solution. And you don't have to throw him to the fire right away. 20, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Amarius Mims just seems like a very easy pick here. Someone that could play, another person I would look at is Graham Barton, someone that could play center. He could play tackle. You get that interior O-line versatility. And when we're taking a look at the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line, you had Broderick Jones, who I really like, and, Isaac Samalu's decent. James Daniels, okay. I don't know how long you want to run Dan Moore, Nate Herbig. It's just James Daniels, I like him. He was a Bear. He's not super old. So actually, maybe you don't need interior as much outside of center. So I'm thinking maybe because Dan Moore's left. J.C. Leeson's a right tackle. I think Amarius Mims makes a lot of sense for them, especially if they're going to use the Broderick Jones plan where he sits and develops for a year, or half a year, I should say, because he can play both tackle spots and he's just extremely athletic. If the Miami Dolphins are on the board and Jackson Powers-Johnson is there, I think that's one of the simplest picks in the draft. They signed Aaron Brewer, but Jackson Powers-Johnson can play that interior, and after losing Robert Hunt, it is a very, very plug-and-play fix that the Dolphins have in JPJ. I've been very, very lame with the Eagles here, and I've just gone Cooper DeJean so many times. Guyton would be a nice pick as well, as they do have 2 second-round picks where I think they can get one of those receivers. So I am going to go Tyler Guyton to kind of learn behind Lane Johnson. Now with the Minnesota Vikings on the clock, we had them taking Byron Murphy. Now, I believe that they might go Bo Nix in this situation, and it could be Michael Penix too. I think it would be if it's a stick and pick draft and they don't get any of the top 4 guys, they'll probably use pick 23 to take Penix or Nix. You can flip them out. I don't really know which would probably work better in that offense. I like both of them. I think the injury history with Penix scares me a little bit, so I lean Nix, even though I think I like Penix more. Either way, I think they are both QB5A and B. I don't really have one ahead of each other. So if the Vikings are going to stick here at 23, because they don't have a second round pick this year, they're probably not going to get them in the third round. This is probably where they'll take their quarterback if they're not going to trade up. So now we have the Dallas Cowboys with Graham Barton on the board. They need to fix that interior, and he's someone that can play all 5 positions on that interior offensive line. Now, in the past, I've usually had Cooper DeJean going to the Eagles. Now, if he is on the board when the Packers are on the clock, I don't think it's really any question who they're going to be picking, because he's someone that can play safety next to Xavier McKinney. He can play corner if you need him. I don't know if he's going to be, a super dominant corner in the league, but he's definitely someone that's not going to be a scrub. So I think that will kind of be their pick. At number 26, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And, they do need center. And they have Wirfs, Sua Opeta, Cody Mauch is okay. Gadecki is okay. They need a guard. They need center. As you look at their team, wide receiver 3 is not completely out of the realm here, especially because you don't know how much longer Mike Evans has. You don't know how much longer. Well, you know how long. Chris Godwin is still relatively young. I think their defense could use kind of a boost after they let go of Carlton Davis for a trade. I don't think their cornerback room is horrible, but I think it's a little bit more of a need than what you'd want in the wide receiver room right now. I like Kool-Aid McKinstry a little bit better than a Nate Wiggins, but I think I like the size of a TJ Tampa a lot to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the name just makes too much sense. We have Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Arizona Cardinals, and I've thought about this one, guys. The the reality is Jonah Williams, yes, is their tackle, but I don't know how long that's going to be for, and I don't necessarily know if that'll take them out of the realm of taking a tackle. I do think Sean Murphy-Bunting, is a decent addition to that cornerback room, but outside of that, it's kind of bare. And when I'm looking at, the rest of this here, I think corner with the value of Nate Wiggins that he brings, if you're willing to take a chance on a smaller guy, could be a great pick for the Arizona Cardinals, who also have pick 35, who could pick up an edge like Chop Robinson if he's available. 28, we have the Buffalo Bills. I am going to give them Adonai Mitchell because, well, actually, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I think what I'm going to do, with kind of their losses on defense, I think you may need to, fill up the corner room a little bit. So maybe as much as I've leaned wide receiver, maybe it's Kool-Aid McKinstry here to the Buffalo Bills. White's gone. They cut their safety. He's gone. And they do need help back there. Their pass rush hasn't been all that great. I think it'll be okay this year, but you don't like what you have at the defensive line positions right now on the board, and I think best player available is probably going to be one of the receivers, the cornerbacks. I've gone offense. I'm going to flip that up. Now we have the Detroit Lions on the clock. So I think J.C. Latham is a tackle. I think he's a tackle. But there are, some teams that say he could play guard. Taylor Decker's still younger. Penei Sewell's still younger. Zeitler's kind of a one-year option. And if you're looking for best player available, I think it's possible that you could go J.C. Latham. I think they're in desperate need of cornerback help. And I think Sandstrom could realistically be a pick here depending on how the board falls because he is a Michigan guy and he loves football. That is the Detroit Lions way of playing. So I've had the last couple days going tackle here. I really think tackle is a very, very, very big need for the Baltimore Ravens. But in this mock, I am going to have them going Brian Thomas Jr. to pair with Zay Flowers. I think that would be a very good pairing for Lamar Jackson. And then your offense is starting to look really, really good. I still think they should go out and get another veteran receiver to add to that room. But in case they don't, they have Brian Thomas Jr. and Zay Flowers. Now, with the San Francisco 49ers on the clock and Colton McKivitz only being on contract through 2025, J.C. Latham couldn't have been an easier pick. Got a succession plan going, ready to fill in when needed. 32, with Adonai Mitchell sitting here, is it really a question? Adonai Mitchell, Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Mock Draft Madness, day 25. Sorry for the upload. I just got back from Dune 2. Pretty good movie. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know your least favorite pick in the comments. If you don't know ball, want to know ball, be sure to subscribe. Leave a like. I'll be back tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you.